Queer theory is a field of post-structuralist critical theory that emerged in the early 1990s out of the fields of queer studies and women's studies. Queer theory includes both queer readings of texts and the theorization of queerness itself. Heavily influenced by the work of Lauren Berlant, Leah Bersani, Judith Butler, Lee Edelman, Jack Halberstam, David Halperin, Jose Esteban Munoz, and Eve Kosofsky-Sedgwick, queer theory builds both upon feminist challenges to the idea that gender is part of the essential self and upon gay/lesbian studies' close examination of the socially constructed nature of sexual acts and identities. Whereas gay/lesbian studies focused its inquiries into natural and unnatural behavior with respect to homosexual behavior, queer theory expands its focus to encompass any kind of sexual activity or identity that falls into normative and deviant categories. Italian feminist and film theorist Teresa de Lauretis coined the term queer theory for a conference she organized at the University of California, Santa Cruz in 1990, and a special issue of Differences, a journal of feminist cultural studies she edited based on that conference. Queer theory focuses on mismatches between sex, gender and desire. Queer has been associated most prominently with bisexual, lesbian and gay subjects, but its analytic framework also includes such topics as cross-dressing, intersex, gender ambiguity and gender-corrective surgery. Queer theory's attempted debunking of stable and correlated sexes, genders, and sexualities develops out of the specifically lesbian and gay reworking of the post-structuralist figuring of identity as a constellation of multiple and unstable positions. Queer theory examines the constitutive discourses of homosexuality developed in the last century in order to place queer in its historical context, and surveys contemporary arguments both for and against this latest terminology. Queer theory is derived largely from post-structuralist theory, and deconstruction in particular. Starting in the 1970s, a range of authors brought deconstructionist critical approaches to bear on issues of sexual identity, and especially on the construction of a normative straight ideology. Queer theorists challenged the validity and consistency of heteronormative discourse, and focused to a large degree on non-heteronormative sexualities and sexual practices. The term queer theory was introduced in 1990, with Eve Kosofsky-Sedgwick, Judith Butler, Adrienne Rich and Diana Fuss all largely following the work of Michel Foucault being among its foundational proponents. Anna Marie Jagos wrote Queer Theory, an introduction in 1997. Queer is slang for homosexual and worse, used for homophobic abuse. Recently, this term has been used as an umbrella term for both cultural sexual identifications and other times as a model for more traditional lesbian and gay studies. According to Jagos, 1996, queer focuses on mismatches between sex, gender and desire. For most, queer has prominently been associated with simply those who identify as lesbian and gay. Unknown to many, queer is in association with more than just gay and lesbian, but also cross-dressing, hermaphroditism, gender ambiguity and gender-corrective surgery. In Karl Ulrich's model, homosexuality is understood to be an intermediate condition, a third sex that combines physiological aspects of both masculinity and femininity. Queer is a product of specific cultural and theoretical pressures which increasingly structured debates, both within and outside the academy, about questions of lesbian and gay identity. Queer theorist Michael Warner attempts to provide a solid definition of a concept that typically circumvents categorical definitions. Social reflection carried out in such a manner tends to be creative, fragmentary, and defensive, and leaves us perpetually at a disadvantage. And it is easy to be misled by the utopian claims advanced in support of particular tactics. But the range and seriousness of the problems that are continually raised by queer practice indicate how much work remains to be done. Because the logic of the sexual order is so deeply embedded by now in an indescribably wide range of social institutions, and is embedded in the most standard accounts of the world, queer struggles aim not just at toleration or equal status, but at challenging those institutions and accounts. The dawning realization that themes of homophobia and heterosexism may be read in almost any document of our culture means that we are only beginning to have an idea of how widespread those institutions and accounts are. Queer theory explores and contests the categorization of gender and sexuality. If identities are not fixed, they cannot be categorized and labeled. Because identities consist of many varied components, so categorization by one characteristic is incomplete, and there is an interval between what a subject does, role-taking, and what a subject is, the self. This opposition destabilizes identity categories, which are designed to identify the sex subject and place individuals within a single restrictive sexual orientation.